my beautiful friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Asba and I'm back with the most requested video, Basic Calligraphy Strokes. And there's a good news for you guys. You don't need to have good handwriting to be a calligrapher. And I do understand calligraphy can be super overwhelming for the beginners, but don't you worry guys, I'm here. So guys, before starting the basic strokes, I want to show you some of the brush pens that I have. So this one is Tombow dual tip brush pen. Let me show you what a brush pen looks like. So this is the brush tip. Just look how long it is. And it's very flexible. I'll show you its other tip. And guys, this another tip is monoline tip and it just gives you one kind of stroke, just like your regular fine liner. So I'll show you this another brush pen. It is Karin brush marker. This is also super amazing brush pen and I'm a great fan of Karin and Tombow both. And I agree, they're a bit pricey, but they are beginners friendly brush pens. And here are my another favorite Tombow Fudenosuke. This one is soft tip brush pen. And you can guess from their size that they both have small tip and this one has hard tip. Now I'll show you some cheap brush pens. Domes is a good brand, but I'll tell you honestly, beginners find it difficult to handle it. Camlin is also a good brand, but they're also way too flexible, just like Domes. This one is Agile brush pen and I never recommend this to anyone. This tip is just like a regular marker. And this another tip is flexible, but I always say don't invest in them. It's a waste of money. And guys, just look at this hot press paper. It's very smooth and I never recommend this one. This one is cold pressed and it is medium textured, so it's meant for watercoloring, not for brush lettering. And I think you can't see that it's textured. Anyways, let's start it. Guys, just observe me carefully. I'm making upstroke and in upstroke you have to put very less pressure. So I'm starting from the bottom and I'm going straight up. And guys, don't go too fast or too slow like I'm doing now. It'll give you shaky strokes, so avoid doing it. And let me tell you, this stroke is the most difficult one. So watch me carefully. I'm just starting from the bottom and I'm keeping the pressure consistent. And very light pressure. Guys, you don't have to rush at the beginning, right? Just have some patience. So this is the upstroke and you can also call it thin stroke. This one is the downstroke and in this one you have to put full pressure on the tip of the pen. You know, people who are new to brush pens, they get scared. They think they may break its tip. So don't worry about it, they are meant to put full pressure on them. These strokes are called downstrokes and they're also called thick strokes. Now I'll combine the upstroke and downstroke and I'll make a new stroke. And before making overturns, you can try these. So start with upstroke with very light pressure and when you reach at the top, just put the full pressure. This one is really easy. You may find overturn difficult. Let's show you overturn. So I'm starting with upstroke with a very light pressure and I'm changing it into downstroke. Watch me carefully guys, what I'm exactly doing here. I'm beginning with the upstroke and on reaching the top, I'm changing it into downstroke. Let me tell you, you may get overwhelmed at the beginning, but after lots and lots of practice, you'll perfect it. I'm marking it for you, so you have to go up and then after taking a turn, you have to come down. And one more thing you have to remember, you have to keep both the strokes parallel to each other. So while coming down, keep the eye on the upstroke, right? And guys, avoid doing these mistakes. I know that you are going to make these mistakes, so that's why I'm asking you to avoid doing them. So just try to keep both the strokes parallel to each other, right? I'll mark here and show you that these two strokes are not parallel to each other. So the last two overturns are totally incorrect, and avoid committing this mistake. This one is correct one, and the stroke is called overturn. Let's see another stroke. In this one you have to begin from the downstroke and then change it into upstroke. This stroke is called underturn, and it's totally opposite of overturn. When we make overturn, we start from the bottom, but in underturn we start from the top. So watch me carefully guys, I'm gonna make one more. I'm beginning with the downstroke and I'm changing it into upstroke. So guys, I'm gonna mark it now. Here it is, downstroke, and after taking a turn I change it into upstroke. And you have to keep it broad, don't keep it narrow. And just like in overturn, both the strokes must be parallel to each other. So just watch me guys, you don't have to do this what I just did. These two strokes are not parallel to each other, right? If I extend these two strokes, they are going to intersect each other. So you have to avoid this mistake. This one is incorrect one, and this underturn is correct. So you have to keep both the strokes parallel to each other, right? So I'm jotting down underturn stroke. This kind of stroke is called underturn stroke. So just look here once more. I started with downstroke and then I changed it into upstroke. So this is the thick stroke, but when I reached here, let me mark, I started lifting the pressure, and when I reached at this point, I totally changed it into upstroke, or you can call it thin stroke, right? Now I'm gonna demonstrate compound curve, and it's a combination of overturn and underturn. So I started with upstroke and then change it into downstroke and back to upstroke. I'll show you some more. So I'm gonna begin with upstroke, and on reaching on the top I changed it into downstroke and again to upstroke. And guys, don't get overwhelmed while practicing these strokes. I know it, beginners get overwhelmed. You know, the key to master these strokes is lots of patience and practice. Alright, so let me tell you, you have to go up, and then when you're going to reach at that point, you have to start adding pressure to the tip of the pen, right? And when you're going to reach down, you just have to change the pressure into light. So brush lettering is all about handling the pressure. And one more thing I want to add on, the distance between these three strokes should be equal. And make sure these three strokes are also supposed to be parallel to one another. So you can see they are parallel, right? And this stroke is called compound curve because it is combination of overturn and underturn, right? Now I'll show you another kind of stroke, and it's called oval. And did you notice that I didn't start it from the top, right? I started from this point and I came back to this point. Now I'm starting from the top, and this is not the correct way of doing it. This is incorrect way, right? So don't start it from the top. This is incorrect. So for making oval, I started with upstroke, and on reaching on the top, I changed it into downstroke, and when I reached bottom, again I changed it into upstroke. And I stopped at the point where I started. I'll show you some more. So I'm beginning with upstroke and then changing it into downstroke and back again to upstroke. And let me tell you, at the beginning it's really hard to change downstroke to upstroke, but you're going to find easy to change upstroke to downstroke, that is something easy, but it is a bit trickier to change downstroke into upstroke. I'll mark the directions for you. So that's the initial point where I started the oval, and I came down and then I went up. So when I reached at this point, I lifted away the pressure, and when I reached at this point, I added the pressure. And let me tell you again, don't do this mistake, okay? You don't have to start oval from that point. You just have to start from there. So this kind of strokes are ovals. Now I'll show you another kind of stroke, and this is called ascending loop. So I'm starting with upstroke, and on reaching on the top, I've changed it into downstroke. So this stroke is the 7th type of stroke. So I'm beginning with thin stroke and then changing it into thick stroke. So I started from here, and on reaching this point, I changed the pressure and I came down. Let me write it for you. The stroke is ascending loop. This is the last stroke, guys, and I started with the downstroke, and on reaching at the bottom, I changed it into upstroke. And this stroke is totally opposite of ascending loop. So guys, what you gotta do is just begin with thick stroke, and on reaching at the bottom, just there where I marked, changed it into upstroke, or you can call it thin stroke, right? So this one is descending loop. So guys, just practice all these strokes, and also you can try this one drill. It'll help you to train your brain to change upstroke to downstroke and downstroke to upstroke. Personally, I find this drill very relaxing and stress releasing. And guys, I'm gonna be making part 2 or maybe part 3 of this video, so stay tuned. Take care. Toodles.